Welcome back, online friends. Today, we're sharing a mysterious story. Danny walked to the lobby. As Wendy approached, Danny stared silently, her neck bruise standing out starkly. She seemed to have endured a frightening room 237 haunted house ordeal, with Wendy quickly blaming Jack. After all, Jack wasn't a great dad, so Wendy blamed Danny's neck bruise on him first. In a small hotel like this, apart from their three, were there aliens? Before Jack explained, Wendy whisked Danny away, eager to drown her nerves in some alcohol, completely forgetting her earlier promise to stay sober. She marched right to the banquet hall, only to discover that the bar was as dry as a desert since the hotel closed, and she desperately wished for a drink. She would have been willing to pay any price the very moment Jack opened his eyes. A bartender suddenly appeared, and Wendy felt totally at ease, calling out his name as if she had bumped into an old friend. Jack saw this bartender and started pouring out his troubles like a kid let out of school. Just then, Wendy walked in, and to everyone's surprise, the bartender vanished into thin air. Wendy said there were other guests, and Danny saw a woman in room 237 trying to strangle her. The scene shifted to Jack arriving in the bathroom, where he spotted a young woman covered in pixelation sitting in the tub. A sleazy grin instantly spread across Jack's face. As the pixelated woman approached him, Jack dashed forward without hesitation, his heart racing like a wild stampede. But the next second, Jack realized she had become as flat as a pancake. This scared Jack into stumbling back, and Danny sensed the horrifying show was about to start. She used her superpowers to call for help from Old Black, who immediately called the hotel upon receiving the signal. After several failed attempts, Old Black had no choice but to call the police station. After Jack returned to the room, he heard everything from Wendy, insisting that everything was normal in the room and that Danny's bruise was just an accident. Wendy was totally in the dark and had no idea who to trust. As ghost stories rose, Wendy decided to leave. Upon hearing this, Jack erupted like a volcano. He got into such a huge argument that when Jack stepped outside, he found colourful balloons and streamers in the lobby, as if there was a party. Curiosity piqued. He walked into the banquet hall only to find it packed with people who weren't there just moments ago. Judging by their attire, it looked like a time warp had just occurred. But Jack didn't have time for that as he approached the bartender for his usual drink. But the bartender told him his money was as useful as a chocolate teapot here. Just as Jack lifted his glass to strut out to the dance floor, a waiter accidentally spilled a drink all over him. Times L funny Armenian hour cents to quarter epsilon gene o stroke times the hat check as a quarter amount saw a half a quarter Chinese letter times the Armenian degrees amount a to a thorn pound sign as a 3/4 a tilde micro a tilde acute a tilde until the circumflex handled the yell. Just then, Jack looked and recognized him at once, not feeling afraid. He broke into a smile that left everyone scratching their heads. Recognized, Charles lost his composure and said your son had called for help through his supernatural powers. Subtitle, Old Black's coming. If you want to stay, take it out, everyone. This hotel's your home. Charles said why he killed his wife and child then, for peace. Upon hearing this, Jack seemed to be hit hard by Charles' logic. Old Black requested officers to radio the hotel, and Jack, exiting the banquet hall, heard the call. To ensure his plan went off without a hitch, Jack wasted no time in destroying the only radio on the premises. With the hotel out of touch, Old Black worried something might go wrong, so he set off for the hotel, while Wendy and Danny sensed something was very off with Jack. Wendy was plotting her escape when Danny muttered to herself, repeating one word over and over. When Wendy asked, Danny said she was not here, as if her soul had drifted away. With no other options, Wendy decided to talk to Jack, hoping to get the family out of this strange place. She even grabbed a baseball bat for safety, but when she tiptoed into the lobby, she saw Jack's notes repeating the same phrase. As she realized Jack was affected by the hotel, the saying all work, no play makes Jack dull came to mind. As she was reeling from the shock, Jack stealthily snuck up behind her, and Wendy was terrified by his devilish grin. Dani happened to see this scene with her powers, and gruesome images flooded her mind. Then Jack blamed all his misfortunes on Wendy. Wendy retreated helplessly up the stairs, watching Jack approach her like a madman. Just as he was about to snatch the bat from her, Wendy swung it and knocked Jack out cold. And then she struggled to drag the unconscious Jack to the supply closet. But just as she locked the door, Jack suddenly got up and tried to play the emotional card with Wendy. Seeing Jack lose control, Wendy ignored him, saying she'd take Dani down first and come back for Jack. But Jack claimed the snow cut and radio outside had been wrecked, making it virtually impossible to get down the mountain.